Mr. Speaker. The only problem with that observation from the pro tem leader of the Labor Party is that it's all rubbish, Mr. Speaker. Firstly, the Auditor-General made it clear is that there's nothing at all to suggest the final decision to negotiate with Sky City was influenced by any inappropriate considerations. The report says a great deal of careful work was undertaken by officials to understand the market, and the officials were acting in good faith, and stresses any issues were procedural rather than about the substance of what was being considered. So that's the first problem with the opposition's opposition to this proposed deal, Mr. Speaker. There are two other problems with the opposition's opposition to this particular deal, Mr. Speaker, and the first one is political history. Because, Mr. Speaker, despite their virulent opposition to the proposal that's in front of us, they did the same thing not 10 years ago, Mr. Speaker. And in fact, the former Prime Minister, St Helena of Mount Albert, Helen Clark, said actually in regards to the previous Sky City Convention Centre poker machine deal, here in New Zealand, it has been pleasing to see continued investment in the quality of our tourism infrastructure. In Auckland, Sky City has pumped $140 million into its new convention centre. The Tourism Minister of the day said it will give great capacity to compete for a whole new range of prestigious events. The gains are widespread, not just for Sky City, but for Auckland City, the region, the tourism industry, and indeed the whole of New Zealand. This was the Labor Party not 10 years ago. Today, the Labor Party is a new Labor Party that wants nothing to do with those sorts of arrangements. And the interesting thing, which is the second problem, Mr. Speaker, that they have, is that this is supposed to be the new, in quotes, hands-on Labor Party. Hands-on Labor Party, which is supposedly interested in rolling its sleeves up and making hands-on approaches to government. Well, not today. Today, of course, not today. Today they are hands-off. Today, the chief whip of the Labor Party was on the radio saying, oh, the market should provide, we shouldn't get involved in regulatory deals for Sky City convention centres. It's the market that should provide, Mr. Speaker. That was Mr. Hipkins just this morning as he repudiated the new, in quotes, hands-on approach of the Labor Party. But it was only today they were hands-off. Really, well, apart from the Hobbit. The Hobbit, they were also hands-off. They didn't want any law changes to allow the Hobbits to be done here. They're also hands-off on resource management law changes. So they're hands-on except for resource management, for the Hobbits, and they're also hands-off for the Auckland Convention Centre. And iron job creation, yes. The hands-off there. The hands-off for oil and gas exploration. Don't want anything to do with any law changes there. But apart from that, they're very hands-on. Well, except for Bathurst Resources at Denniston, they're hands-off about that. But that's just an exception, Mr. Speaker. They're also hands-off about aquaculture investment. Yes, indeed, Mr. Speaker. They're hands-off about that. Apart from that, they're hands-on. Oh, no, actually, no. They're hands-off. They don't want any international investment. They don't want any increase in irrigation or intensification of agriculture. Oh, they're hands-off there too. But apart from that, they're hands-on, which means they're only hands-on in one way, and that's hands on your wallet, Mr. Speaker. That's the only way the Labor Party is hands-on the taxpayer's wallet. That's their solution to every problem. They roll out the chequebook, raise the debt, get the Greens to print the money. That'd be the solution. So today we've learned their hands-on slogan is rubbish. We've learned that they have a new hypocrisy about what they did 10 years ago, and we've learned that the opposition leader is grasping at straws with an OAG report that frankly says that there were only some procedural issues and the substantive result would never have been changed, Mr. Speaker. And that is the quality of the government's opposition today.
Honourable David Parker.
Speaker, there's no way the government can claim vindication from this report. This is another tawdry